Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about mind chatter, how to silence the noise and cultivate self-mastery. Have you ever noticed how loud the mind can become when the room is completely silent? You sit down to rest and suddenly your thoughts begin arguing with each other. One thought says, you're behind in life. Another says, you're not good enough. Another replays an embarrassing moment from 5 years ago. And before you know it, your peace is gone. This is what many people live with every single day. The endless internal noise that drains your energy, steals your focus, and keeps you disconnected from clarity. But what if you could train your mind instead of being controlled by it? What if you could cultivate a deeper awareness, a calmer inner world, and true cardionosis? Today, we're going to talk about how to silence mental noise using wisdom, consciousness, and biblical insight. And surprisingly, the book of Proverbs already talked about the power of meditation thousands of years ago. Mind chatter is the non-stop stream of thoughts constantly running inside your head. It is the inner commentary that never seems to rest. Sometimes it sounds like worry, sometimes comparison, sometimes fear, sometimes imaginary arguments that never even happen in real life. And the dangerous part is this: most people believe every thought that enters their mind. But not every thought deserves your attention. Proverbs chapter 4 verse 23 says, "Guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it flow the issues of life." Notice the instruction: guard your heart. Because your inner world eventually becomes your outer reality. A chaotic mind creates a chaotic life. A quiet mind creates direction. Mind chatter grows stronger when there is no capacity to handle stress. When a person moves through life unconsciously, they become reactive. Every emotion controls them. Every distraction pulls them. Every negative thought becomes truth. But self-mastery begins the moment you observe your thoughts from a place of being still instead of immediately caving into them. By the way, before we proceed, I want to let you know that there are free resources I am giving away that you can access by clicking the link in the description. Your mind is like the soil. Whatever you continually plant into it eventually grows. If your days are filled with noise, gossip, endless scrolling, fear, confusion, and comparison, your thoughts will become restless. But if your inner life is cultivated carefully, your mind begins to stabilize. This is why Proverbs speak so much about wisdom, restraint, and careful speech. Proverbs chapter 15 verse 28 says, "The heart of the righteous studies how to answer." In other words, a wise person does not react instantly. They become conscious, aware, intention. Most oftentimes, mind chatter comes from mental overstimulation, too much information, too many voices, little to zero stillness. Your brain was never designed to dwell on thousands of opinions every single day, let alone consume them. That is why many people can no longer sit quietly for even 5 minutes without feeling uncomfortable. Silence exposes what noise has been hiding. There's an interesting verse in Proverbs chapter 27 verse 9 that says, "Perfume and incense bring joy to the heart." Think about that for a moment. Incense can trigger a practicing mystic to ascend as the fragrance creates the atmosphere. Before you even see anything, the fragrance already affects your existential state. Your thoughts work the same way. Internal negativity begins affecting your entire presence, but wisdom, meditation on Yahweh, and conscious living create a different atmosphere within you. This is why some people walk into a room carrying peace, while others carry tension. The inner world eventually radiates outward. When you cultivate consciousness, you become aware of the mental fragrance you are producing every day. Are your thoughts creating clarity or confusion? Are they creating strength or exhaustion? Self-mastery begins by taking responsibility for the atmosphere within your own mind. The first step is awareness. Not every thought deserves attention. Sometimes the mind produces random fear simply because it has become conditioned to overthink. Instead of fighting every thought emotionally, learn to observe it calmly. Awareness weakens mental chaos the minute it catches the pattern. Many people are mentally exhausted because they never disconnect from stimulation. Constant notifications, constant entertainment, constant arguments online. Your mind needs space to breathe. Even Jesus often withdrew into quiet places. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is recovery for the mind. Spend time away from constant noise. Take walks without headphones sometimes. Sit quietly for a few minutes daily. You'll begin noticing how addicted the mind became to distraction. Romans chapter 12 verse 2 says, "Be transformed by the renewing of your mind." Notice that transformation begins in the mind first. A renewed mind thinks differently, responds differently, lives differently. The mind must be trained repeatedly. Just like the body develops through exercise, the inner life develops through discipline. Meditating on wisdom-filled scripture calms mental disorder because truth interrupts confusion. Sometimes the mind is noisy because the nervous system is overloaded. Slow breathing helps calm internal tension. When you slow down during the breathing practices, the heart becomes coherent and the mind then follows. Stillness teaches the brain that it does not need to remain in survival mode all day long. Proverbs chapter 16 verse 32 says, "He who rules his spirit is better than he who takes a city." That is powerful. According to Proverbs, conquering yourself is greater than conquering external things because many people achieve money but cannot control their thoughts. They gain status but remain internally restless. They appear successful outwardly while inwardly they are collapsing. True strength is internal stability. Self-mastery means your emotions no longer dominate you. Your thoughts no longer control you. Your impulses no longer lead you blindly. You become centered, aware, grounded. And when the mind becomes quieter, clarity begins to emerge naturally. Mind chatter does not disappear overnight, but every time you cultivate awareness, every time you guard your inner atmosphere, every time you choose control over mental chaos, you become stronger internally. Little by little, the noise loses power, and eventually you begin experiencing something many people rarely encounter: inner stillness. Not because life became perfect, but because your mind stopped controlling you. Remember this: a disciplined inner world creates a disciplined life. And as Proverbs teaches repeatedly, wisdom is not merely knowledge. It is mastery over how you think and live. If this video helped you, leave a comment below sharing what causes the most mind chatter in your life. And subscribe for more videos on consciousness, wisdom, self-mastery, and cultivating a stronger inner life through biblical principles. By the way, before we proceed, I want to let you know that there are free resources I am giving away that you can access by clicking the link in the description. And you can also get the Mindful Living Journal to get started on your journey of healing and awareness.